Hi everybody, welcome or welcome back to the TCS podcast. My name is Nan and I am back to talk about the full moon that is going to happen now on the 17th of September. It's a full moon in Pisces. I'm sure, especially those of us that are sensitive, you can already feel it. It's definitely a really strange energy. Pisces, or the 12th house in astrology, is the last house in astrology. And it's eclipse season, and again, it feels a little bit like things are out of our control. Like it really feels like right now it's a faded kind of period. For good or bad, I guess. Everything is for our highest good, but sometimes we hold on to things that we think we need, but we don't actually need, or old things that have been present in our lives for so long, and that can be very different for everyone. So being the last sign, being the last house, mean that this full moon is definitely going to, I don't want to use the word force us to let go, but it's definitely gonna make us see things as they really are. So breaking some kind of illusions in order to see that what we thought was the best for us might have been before, but isn't now. And that can be very different depending on also which house it falls into. Again, you have to see your rising to be able to see which house the full moon falls in. So for me, for example, I'm an Aries rising, so automatically the moon falls in my 12th house in this transit. So it can be very different depending on which house it lands in. I'm not even going to say need to let go of. We need to allow it to end. And that can sometimes feel like we're mourning something. And it could be people, relationships, jobs, patterns, subconscious patterns that we held on to for so long that might have really helped us get through a tough period. It might have helped us cope with trauma, with hardship, but we will find ourselves viewing this pattern and seeing that in order to move on in life, or in order to become more of who we are, we need to allow it to just simply kind of disintegrate in a way. Disintegrate doesn't mean that we cut part of us off. It means that we let it kind of, instead of being a solid thing, because anything, even if it's a pattern, it becomes more solid. So a pattern is exactly that. It's something that's structured a way to keep repeating itself. So when we disintegrate, we let it disintegrate, it falls out of its structure, and we allow it to become something else. So we need to remember that energy never dies. Nothing can die. Anything can just be rebirthed. So in order to let go of some people, we might feel like we're letting people down, or we might be on the other side where people let go of us, or we feel kind of abandoned. And it's really, really tough being human to view that situation from a higher perspective when we feel rejected, hurt, and abandoned. But this is definitely a time with this full moon that we might feel a little pinned to the wall. You know, like we can't necessarily control it in ways that we could control it before. It's still our souls that are in that, I don't want to even call it control, but that are in the driving seat. It's just a little bit that our human selves, our ego, is being pinned to the wall. And it feels like we're kind of watching things unfold or watching things fall away. And that's why I'm saying it's not an active letting go. It's just watching, allowing it to fall away, to disintegrate. They're really, really harping on the disintegration. So Pisces is also very spiritually tied, spiritually connected sign. It's a sign it's in the 12th house. It is that subconscious. It's ruled by Neptune. It's our intuition, our dreams, it's our sensitivities, it's our oneness in a way. So pay attention to your dreams. Definitely. We all might have very different dreams. If you're a vivid dreamer, it probably will be even more vivid now. For those of us that lucid dream, we can experience more of that because that's very, very Piscean. And pay attention to your dreams. Some of them might actually just be prophetic dreams. And again, we talk all the time about that you can't predict the future, and I'm still on that, but there might be some timeline that we are on that is somewhat set for us, that we can, with our dreams, tap into that future timeline because it's already in that, let's say, fated path. I don't know if that makes sense, but the future is not set in stone. Still, that might sound like a paradox, but and not just because of the future. Pay attention to your dreams because everything in our dreams are aspects of us. And even if we do get visitations from guides, from angels, from loved ones, it could be healthy, especially with the Pisces full moon, to view them as what kind of aspects of us do they mirror? What do they want to tell us? What message do they have for our journey? And I think that especially when it comes to us, the lost loved ones, we might feel more visitations during this Pisces full moon. And it's a way for the universe to really show that we're always, always supported. Even if we're pinned to the wall, it's easy to feel this sense of wanting to control even more, wanting to force things, wanting to get off the wall and just kind of poke in everything. But it's almost like we're not really allowed to poke. Again, we always have free will. We can poke all we want if we want to, but there's definitely a big encouragement to just like trust where you are. Trust that you feel a little disoriented. Trust that what happens now is for our highest good and it is in a way meant to happen. It's something that we planned for before our lives. Now, for some of us, it could mean a positive event. For others of us, it might be hurtful, but it's still positive in essence. It still will lead us to something better, more evolved. It's a really great time to practice your psychicness, to practice your intuition, to practice your sensitivities. It's a beautiful time to just connect to the divine. Wonderful time to meditate or just contemplate. Be creative in any way, you know, write some poetry, write stories, paint, write music, whatever you creative people do. It's a beautiful way to actually practice some channeling, maybe some channeled writing, really beautiful way for those of us that do tarot or readings. We can really feel how connected we are to that flow. Like even talking, I feel so much in the flow in between dimensions. It's a strange full moon, if you ask me. The way it feels kind of strange. I'm really coming back to this being pinned to the wall. Remember that what we resist persists. And holding on to something is more an act of fear than it is out of loyalty or whatever we might tell ourselves. Holding on to people that we know are not good for us or we're not good for them is not really an act of loyalty, but we tell ourselves those things. So those are some of the illusions that we keep feeding ourselves that will become more evident now how much of an illusion it actually is. And we might also see with the Pisces being connected to the subconscious, we can kind of trace back the illusions, be like, to even see why we created them in the first place. What did they protect us from? And back to the dreams, they're saying like dream journal is a great thing, especially if you have an easy time forgetting your dreams, waking up, writing them down. That process in and of itself can make our dreams more vivid, and can make our dreams more, just more profound in a way. Pay attention to strange events. If we think about back to the last full moon, I'm sure a lot of us had these little strange events, like strange encounters or just bizarre things that feel random, but that actually were kind of not random. So a little too random to just be a coincidence. So this is again that kind of time. Before we got Aquarius full moon, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. And now it's Pisces, so it's even more that chance encounters, meeting kindred spirits in different ways, meeting people from our soul family. And again, this doesn't have to be a huge meeting where, you know, you meet someone and angels start singing around you. It could. That's really great. But it could be a little thing. It could be meeting a stranger that does something really kind, or meeting a stranger that says something that fits your situation so perfectly that it's like, okay, this cannot be a coincidence. That person, even if you'll never see them again, can still be part of your soul family. Those are things that we sometimes don't think about as humans. We like to measure things in our human way. If we're really close to someone, if we had a really long relationship or a really long friendship, it means that it's strong. But honestly, they're saying that not every relationship can be, the quality of a relationship doesn't necessarily have to be measured depending on the length of it. You know, I think we all know some people that are in really, really long relationships, but they're not really great quality relationships. And then we might have met someone for a few weeks on a vacation and had the most profound experience with this person. And that was still just a short little encounter, a short little relationship. So again, pin to the wall. We can't control those things. We don't need to know everything exactly when we want to know it. being an Aquarius and a Virgo moon, for me, that can be really hard sometimes. So it's definitely a good lesson to learn. You know, to sum it up, go a bit with the flow. Be observant. Let yourself be led. Let yourself be guided. Let yourself be pulled with these intuitive hits. Work with that creativity. And even if this is still a month where it's a lot of logic, and like I said in that September video, that it's a lot of anxiety, it could be a good little break to just kind of feel that we don't need to control everything. It's really giving us permission to just take a little bit of a step back. So I don't think it's necessarily a great time to start initiating a bunch of new things, you know, start doing a bunch and start manifesting a bunch of things. It's more of a thing to let things clean themselves out a little bit. Let them go back to the source of their being and become something better in our lives. So for all of us control freaks, maybe we can just take a deep breath and let ourselves actually be guided. Let ourselves receive. It's a beautiful time to receive healing. It could be from a practitioner. It could be from yourself if you practice healing. It could be simply to just sit in meditation and ask our souls, the universe, spirit, to send us some kind of healing. So it's very different, but it's a beautiful time for that receiving. It's a beautiful time to work with anything spiritual. Even if you go to a church or, you know, a mosque or whatever kind of ties you to spirit, to that spiritual thing, spiritual dimension in life, it's a beautiful time to do that. So I enjoy the full moon. It's a freaky little strange, you know, feeling in between dimension full moon. Some of us might feel a little sick, but that's also a way for our bodies to kind of purge a little bit, to let go of toxic things. And if we're really sensitive, we might feel it a little more strongly. Depending on your house, we might feel really sleepy. It's not really a full moon where we're like, yeah, let's go work, let's be super productive and super ambitious. It's not really a time for that, is what I get. So if you're naturally a person that loves working, you're productive all the time, it might feel like you can't, or you lack the energy. But just let that be. Don't fight it. What we resist persists. Like I said, don't fight it. Just allow. So if I can sum this full moon up, allow. And sometimes that means taking a risk. Sometimes it means risking things and not being in absolute control of everything. But you know, sometimes that's really nice, actually. We don't always know what's best, and we don't know everything. We know exactly what we need to know at the moment that we need to know it. So I'm gonna leave you with that. I definitely feel like that was the last kind of sentence, and I hope you enjoy the full moon. I'm wondering, how's your September going? Have you been feeling a little anxious? Have you got things done? Have you finished old projects? And also let me know how the full moon feels for you. If you know which house it is, you can just look up your birth chart, or you can Google. If you know your birth chart, you can Google, I am Aries rising, where does my full moon fall, in which house? And you can read about it like that. I do encourage you to do that if you want a little more in-depth information. And good luck, everybody. Happy full moon, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.